All right, today I want to talk to you about pruning and training Japanese maples, especially the laceleaf varieties, the dissectum varieties that weep. This is a small laceleaf weeping Japanese maple. This one actually happens to have, it's a very, very interesting plant. It's got variegated foliage. Now, we're shooting this in October, so the foliage doesn't have that breathtaking look that it does most of the year. This variety is Toyoma Nishiki. It's a dissectum variety, Toyoma Nishiki. But what I want to show you is this is where the graft union is right here. So this is a Japanese maple seedling, and then this is the desired variety from here up, and that was grafted onto this seedling. Now this is the part that this is the plant that we're trying to retain. But what happens is when you have a high graft like this, a lot of times plants are either grafted up high like this or way down low. But in either case, anything that grows on the actual rootstock, because the rootstock itself is just a generic Japanese maple, Acer palmatum, upright variety of Japanese maple. And this happens a lot to people. They get growth coming from underneath their Japanese maple, and they don't know what's going on, and they can't figure it out, so they're afraid to do anything. But it's really important that you remove all of this, because this is not the desired variety. The desired variety is this part up here. So basically I would go through here and remove all of that. Now the next thing, this plant's going to want to weep over. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to put a stake here, and we'll probably train this upright just like that until it gets up maybe this high, and then we'll train it so it starts weeping. That's really, really important. And this is the kind of thing that people make a huge mistake. I want to show you on this next plant, because here there are small seedlings on here, or small suckers, and if you can see how easily when these things first come out and they're just a little tiny leaf bud, that's really the ideal time, because you can just pick them off, or you can just take your hand and like right here there's some that are coming. I can just rub those off with my thumb. Now once they get to be about this size, that doesn't work so well, so then you got to take the time to prune them off. But again, and don't leave little stubs. Get them back is pretty close to the stem, because you're going to want an attractive looking plant, not something that's got little nubs sticking out everywhere. Now I want to show you what happens when you were afraid to prune, you don't know how to prune, and you just let something go. Now over here, this is a plant that I bought. I bought it from another wholesale grower, and this plant is, first of all, there's a sucker way down here, so I'm going to remove that. That doesn't belong there. But this plant should have been pruned should have been trained and pruned when it was really, really young. And what we're doing now is we're trying to make something of this thing and salvage it into a nice plant. And we will easily be able to achieve that. But I'm going to do something a little drastic right here. And I got to take this whole branch off, because it's not where it needs to be. It's way too close to the ground, and it just doesn't add anything to the value of the plant. Now you can see we're going to end up with a really crazy stem. But what I'm going to do is I'll keep training this thing up this way, then we'll start to get a nice head on it, and once that happens, then I'll go down through here and start removing all this stuff. I'm going to have a crooked stem because this plant was not properly trained when it was young, so there's nothing I can do about that. But eventually I will still end up with a nice plant. Now let me show you, I'm going to show you a different, same weeping variety, a dissectum variety, but one that has been grown properly from the very beginning. All right, now this is another dissectum variety, has red leaves. This variety is an Ibra Shader. This plant, as you can see, for one, it was grafted down lower, but again, it can still have the ability, it's grafted just about 2 inches above the ground, and this will still have the ability to produce suckers down there, so you got to be diligent about removing those. But see, this plant from a very young age was trained upright with a single stem, and what's going to happen is this is going to develop a beautiful head. It's going to weep down. As somebody who bought this plant to grow on, this is going to be a lot easier for me to work with, because this plant was properly trained from the beginning. Now one of the things that I'm going to do, something that you would probably be afraid to do, but that's why I'm doing this video, because I want you to realize how important it is. I'm going to go in here, I'm going to take this off, throw that away, whoops, I'll make a little cut right here, and get rid of that. And what I'm doing is I'm tightening this plant up just a little bit, because next spring it's going to put on new growth, and I want all that new growth to be in here so it gets nice and full, not way out here, because that's not going to do me any good way out there. So actually I'm just going to take that tip off right there. Same thing with, now this plant should have been pruned a long time ago. And again, we got all this is up here. Now if I don't do anything with this, I'm going to get more new growth up here, and that's not where I want it right now. So I'm going to go way back here. For one, these two branches are competing with one another. I'm going to take that one out completely, just like that. These are sticking way out in left field, so I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to go here, and then here, just about like that. Now I know that doesn't look good now, but that'll develop buds and fill out. Same thing with this plant. Look, see, here's a branch that's growing way down. I'm just going to take that one off because I want all this up here. Now eventually I'll probably remove these lower branches, and well, you know what, I think I'm going to get them off right now while I got a chance, because I've got plenty of plant up top. It's a little bit lopsided this way, so I'm going to trim that off just about like that. Now next spring that plant's going to fill out very nicely, and by this time next year you won't even recognize it. But so anyway, hopefully that's going to help you to understand how to train a dissectum Japanese maple that has a tendency to weep down, and how to prune them to get them nice and full so they are absolutely beautiful.